Thanks for listening to the Dr. Drew Podcast on Podcast One.
If you have an appetite for fun, then the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival is the place to be. March 2nd through April 12th, only at the Disneyland Resort. Enjoy deliciously fresh food, California wines, craft beers, specialty cocktails, live music, and more. All served up with a dash of Disney magic. Get more details at disneyland.com/foodandwine.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Sanchez.
And I'm Susie Schuster. Get ready because each week Lauren and I are going to be talking about the biggest stories in sports on our new podcast, Locker Room Talk.
You've never heard a sports show like this one before. We're going to cover what is happening in the sports world with a flair that only women can bring.
Yeah, this is what we call real Locker Room Talk. Don't forget to download each new episode every Thursday.
You can listen to Locker Room Talk for free exclusively on Apple Podcast at podcastone.com and on the Podcast One app. If you love the show, share it with a friend. And of course, leave us a rating and a review.
Oh, you'll love it.
Hey, welcome to Dr. Drew Podcast. Don't forget to check out those swinging sounds, the swinging tunes. Also, support the people that support us here. Go to drdrew.com. Check out the contact list. We've got this newsletter coming out now that I am very proud of. We are going to be chronicling the opiate epidemic from all the way back to where poppies were invented as a pharmaceutical agent back, actually, it turns out in prehistoric times, bringing it all the way forward. So if you wonder how we got into this mess, I'm going to tell you about it in a multi-part series. So that's our newsletter. And also check out the family of other podcasts we've got there as well. Now, my privilege to welcome today Billie Lee. She is in the new. Are you the only new cast member?
I am the new cast member.
The new cast member on Vanderpump Rules. Monday, 9 on Bravo. You can follow her at It's Me Billie, Billee, L-E-E. It's Me Billie Lee.com. Or Twitter at It's Me Billie Lee. Yes. And the show, are you a server at the restaurant?
A host. I'm a host at SUR, yes.
Yeah, and it's all at SUR. It's not up the hill at Pump.
No, I mean, we definitely party there, but I work at SUR, yes.
And any surprises we should look forward to, or anything you can? Any not spoilers, but things to watch out for.
Well, I mean, there are so many attractive men at SUR, and so you see me dating, you definitely see some things happen there. And
well, let's sort of drill in right away. Okay. So for you, attractive men and dating has a sort of a special quality to it, right?
Yes.
Special challenges. Yes. Why is that?
Because I'm trans, and it's like a thing. You know, not everyone is comfortable with it. And
do you run into conflict? Do you run into weird situations? Is it something you're very familiar with, so you know how to handle it? Or how's that work?
Well, I mean, I feel like, it's at that point where you meet a guy, you hit it off, and then you have to tell him I'm trans. And
when is that point?
Well, I like to do it right away. Like, I wish, literally, hi, I'm Billie Lee, and I'm trans.
So you, the first time you see there's an attraction, you try to get it out there right away.
I do, but it's hard. And sometimes you enjoy the attention, and you just want to be yourself, and you don't want to have to reveal everything. And at first, but I used to date men, and I didn't tell them. And then I would fall in love with them, and, we would be in a relationship, and then I would tell them, and they would be devastated, or they would be upset, and they would break up with me.
What was the worst story that way?
Well, I mean, you have connections with people, and I had a really amazing connection with this guy, and he was my neighbor, and he also, would come into this cafe that I worked at, and
this was out here in Los Angeles?
Yes, yeah. And it was just amazing, but I was so afraid of him finding out. And
because you sort of sensed he was somebody that would not...
Exactly. Yeah. He definitely was not cool with it. And he even told me a story one time where he sat next to a trans woman on the bus. And it was the perfect opportunity to tell him. But when he was saying that it freaked him out, I instantly went to fear mode. And I was so afraid to tell him. And then I knew, I was okay, I really do have to tell him.
How long had you been dating at that point? Were you dating or just
getting
ready to date?
Just hanging out, hooking up kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would say like probably maybe 6 months it took for me to tell him. And then he was like, yeah, I'll never look at you the same. Like, I don't even want to look at you.
Ew.
And yeah, it was really bad. It was like I was left on the floor for days. My roommate at the time like had to lift me up so many times because I was just really hurt. But I was attracting people who were afraid of it because I was afraid of it. I wasn't in love with my trans experience. I was ashamed of it.
Was it earlier in the? Or is this,
I think it was like a few years ago.
how old were you when you started the trans?
I was around 20.
So you were not somebody that transitioned during adolescence or something?
No.
Were you aware then, earlier on? Or?
I knew when I was little that I was attracted to feminine things, and I knew that it was wrong for me to be attracted to them. My parents did little things, and also I'm really sensitive with energy, and I felt the energy of shame, and my parents were, didn't know what was going on with me, and they were embarrassed and ashamed. Small town.
When you say attracted to feminine things, what do you mean?
Like, I loved Barbie dolls. I loved girl things, pink things. I wanted to always play the girl role. If you were playing house or being a teacher, like I always imagined myself as a girl. But I didn't know the word transgender, and my parents dropped out of high school. They had me when they were 17.
Oh my! And
they didn't know, and all they knew was you need to get dirty like a boy, you need to hold the fork like a boy, you need to be a boy. And and I didn't want to be.
When did you speak out about it?
I didn't. Well, I was diagnosed with childhood depression, OCD, because I had like all these anger issues. Because I wasn't diagnosed as being trans. I was just told that I was wrong. And then after missing like 2.5 years of grade school because of being depressed and also being bullied, I was afraid to go to school.
Why were you bullied?
For being feminine. Being called a sissy. The bathroom walls always like had my name on it, like Billy sucks dick. I'm like, I didn't even know how to suck dick then, but apparently, like, that's the rumor. So, yeah, it was all about me, being feminine, too feminine.
Did you identify as gay initially, or?
So the therapist, my parents brought me to a therapist that the government like paid for. It was through Medicare, not Medi-Cal, but Medicare. And it was, they were just like, oh, he's going to be gay. This was
how long ago?
This is when I was a child.
But how many years?
20.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20. Yeah.
Okay. And so they just saw it as a not a gender identity issue, but a sexual identity issue.
Exactly.
And that the anger and all that was related to that, they thought?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my parents, they fought a lot when I was a child, and they had their own issues. And
was it domestic violence?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's...
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I was very detached from my family just because I just didn't connect with them. When I was younger, I just wanted to get out.
Did you have siblings?
I have a little brother. Yeah. Well, he's just a year younger than me, but he looks like he's 20 years older than me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, good for your parents for taking you to a therapist, right? I mean, if they really were unenlightened, who knows what they would have done. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. So they were trying, right? They may not have been enlightened, but they were struggling and trying and trying to help. And
they were trying, and they wanted me to be happy. And now they're like my biggest fans. They love me. They love the fact that I'm their daughter. So it's really cool to experience the other side of that.
Well, tell me more about the transformation. So now you're in high school. You're being told this is a sexual orientation thing.
Right. So
you're still unhappy.
So I dated. They told me, you're gay, and I was in a male body, and I was attracted to men, and I was like, okay, so I started dating a man who was gay, and he hated the fact that I was so feminine, and it just went from my parents not liking the fact that I was so feminine to my first boyfriend. So it just kept on. I just felt a lot of shame. Which is kind of
interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff felt familiar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was 2 years. And
you're how old now?
I'm 33.
No, I mean at that point, 18, 19?
I was, like 18, okay. 19, yeah.
18, yeah.
And then as soon as I ended that relationship, I moved to, I was in Chicago for a couple of years, but I moved to Los Angeles. And when I first moved to Los Angeles, that's when I was at a bar and someone was like, sweetie, you're trans. And I was like, what?
Were you shocked or were you like, what is that?
I mean, I kind of knew what it was,
yeah.
But it just didn't make sense. Like at that moment, it made complete sense. Like a light went off.
Oh, so you thought he's right, or whoever the person was right.
And that's when I was like, I couldn't go to sleep for a couple days, I was just thinking about it nonstop. And I imagined myself on a beach, a deserted beach, and I was alone. There was no judgment. And I imagined myself as a beautiful woman naked and a beautiful man naked. And my heart space just blew open when I imagined myself as a woman, and it just all made sense. And I knew it was time to start the transformation.
What'd you do first?
Hormones. You always have to, I mean, it's best to start on hormones before you have any surgery because your face and your body shifts.
And your moods and stuff too, right?
Oh my God. It's like going through puberty as an adult. I was such a hot mess. I've lost a couple friendships through that transition because I was just so...
Irritable.
Yeah.
Labile.
Exactly.
Good times. Do you feel more empathy for women?
I do. I mean...
One thing I found fascinating when I talk to trans friends is the empathy they develop for the opposite sex they're transitioning into.
Yeah.
Like the female to males always go, oh my God, have you been dealing with this all the time? and my reaction was like, yeah, try doing it when you're 13. It's like what was God intending? And same thing, male to female, is like, yeah, you feel a little something for other women now. We all contend with these biologies, and we don't really appreciate what the other sex is dealing with.
Yeah, and I really do appreciate the fact that, and now that I'm in love with my trans experience of being both, and
being both
sex, and like experiencing
having been both,
having both, and experiencing the fact that testosterone is a very strong.
Yeah, I want some trans members community members to be clear about that, because you could be a great voice for that difference, because everyone argues about what the biology is. Trans folk experience it firsthand. They are the ground zero for all this, and they should be talking about it. Like it was here. And I would love to, like, how fascinating it would be to get groups of transgender, both sexes, to talk about the spectrum of experience that they have with it, so we can understand it even better.
I mean, one of my dreams is to speak. I love speaking in front of people, and so I want to share that because
well, you've been very open about it, so that's where I'm going.
But testosterone, when I did have testosterone in my body and I didn't start the hormones, pre-transition, I would think about sex all the time. I was like, I can fuck him, like literally all day long, every day. And so when my girlfriends are like, we haven't had sex in a couple months, I think he cheated. Well, he has testosterone in his body, and he needs to release that. And I know the power of testosterone. So
please write a book about this.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Because there's all... You can speak to it in a way that a straight male can't and a straight female can't.
Exactly.
I mean, a straight non-gender, whatever, not trans. And it I think it would be very powerful. I really do. So I'm calling upon you to I'll be happy to help if there's something I can help with.
Yes,
but,
please.
You know who else gave me some insight on this too was, what's her name? Sonny and Cher's, what's his name?
Chaz. Yes.
Chaz was like, oh yeah, the testosterone started. I was like, holy shit. I have suddenly realized what men are dealing with. So,
when I dated a trans man before, and he was on testosterone, and in the community, people would say like T-rage because he would.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and that was a thing. Like, we would fight a lot, and he would just get really upset.
Is that a common thing when two trans folk get together?
You would think it would be, but it's not. And I'm always like, where are all the trans men? Because I actually love being with trans men. I think it's really cool to be with someone who knows kind of what you're going through, and there's really no judgment. You can wake up in the morning and just feel great with that person. And I've never experienced vagina until I got my own. And when I was dating a trans man, I loved the fact that he had a vagina. I fell in love with it. I couldn't get away from it.
Interesting.
But I loved it on a man. I like it on a man. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not attracted to it on really a woman. Sometimes I find myself attracted to a woman if they have some masculine energy. But
have you tried to deconstruct that? Have you sort of figured out what that is for you?
No.
It's interesting.
I know it is.
Because when I back in the day, I used to take care of this is a long time ago. Some male to female transgender folk, and a lot of them would have relationship with lesbian women after they transitioned, and I was like, explain that to me. I'm confused. But it worked for them and whatever. And there's not. I don't see as much of that anymore. Am I wrong, or is that still real common?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it in the trans community.
I'm sure it happens, but it used to be. Seemed like it was much more common.
Well, and I noticed too, since I started hormones, I feel like I'm more attracted to feminine things too. I'm not just necessarily attracted to men. And I think finding the fact that this guy had such a balance of masculine and feminine energy, and with that vagina, I don't know. I was just so. It took me a couple weeks. I was scared shitless at first, but then once I really got into him, I was like, I'm obsessed with this. So,
what happened then?
It just didn't work out because of rage, and I think, he would get really upset on certain things, and I just didn't feel good all the time around him, and I want to be with a partner who makes me feel good.
And we started this conversation talking about some of the stuff that happens at the restaurants and on Vanderpump Rules. We're going to see all this on TV, right?
Yeah.
Is there a certain kind of guy that particularly is attracted to you, do you think? I mean, can you characterize it in any way, or is it all over the place?
That are attracted to me?
Yeah.
I mean, someone that's open-minded, and I feel like, who can see...
Let me reframe it.
Okay.
Are there guys that are especially into you? Because there are guys that are into transgender females.
Yeah.
And do you know? And can you characterize those guys, or do you attract those guys?
I don't attract those guys. Pre-op, before I had my surgery, and I still had masculine features.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely attracted men who were into that, and in the community we call them chasers.
Chasers,
yeah.
What do they chase?
Because they have a specific type of trans women, like that's their type. And then
wait, slow down, because I'm interested. I'm interested in people, right? So I'm interested, and I imagine there was probably a certain profile of people that would do that. So who are they?
So chasers are men who are into trans women who have
a penis still.
Penis.
Yeah.
But the thing is with chasers is they just really see you as an object. They just want to get off.
And are they sort of sex addicts?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Exactly.
So it's just some novelty. You're a novelty to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find someone who really is just wanting a relationship too.
Right.
And there's a lot of shame with men. Like, it's not accepted in society. And so you don't see a lot of men be like, yo, this is my girl, she's trans. And especially if, she still has masculine features, and people notice her, or she's noticeably trans, it's more likely for you to not be introduced to his friends. And you're kind of more of a secret. Like, I've been a secret off and on for so long, especially before all my surgeries.
So that's still happening or no?
Surgeries?
No. Well, yes. More surgeries? Are there more surgeries?
No.
Okay. It's being a secret.
No, it doesn't happen. I mean, sometimes I do find myself like really connecting with someone, and I can tell that they have some shame about it. And I'm like, could I deal with this? Could we get through this? But yeah, no one wants to feel shame, and no one wants to be a secret. And I definitely don't want that for anyone else, so I don't want it for myself. So,
are you in a relationship now?
No.
I feel I have a billion questions all of a sudden. It's just all kinds of stuff. Are there surgeries you regret?
No. It was really hard. My vagina, the first couple of years, I was afraid of it.
Meaning what?
I just didn't know how to work it, and it was so tight.
From a sexual arousal standpoint, or from an intercourse standpoint, or
from intercourse, okay. Yeah. Like, it was tight, and so
you have to now. Again, I'm a dilettante, so bear with me. But patients I've dealt with this, they had these acrylic devices they had to put in, these expanders they had to put in.
Dilators.
You had to deal with that?
Yeah.
Did you do that diligently, or were you not doing it properly, and so what happened? Or
I mean, who wants to sit around for hours and stick something inside them?
I understand. So the answer is no, you weren't doing it properly,
exactly.
So okay.
No. And then, when it comes time to like having sex, like dudes are like, oh my God, this is so amazing. It's so tight. But at the same time, it was so painful for me. So it was just... it was difficult, but it took a long time for me to really love my vagina and my trans experience.
I got a million questions that
okay.
follows onto that too, but let me go back to the painful intercourse. If you still had, this is going to be a crazy question, but if you still had all that testosterone flying around, would you tolerate that pain? You understand the question I'm asking?
Yeah.
That women tolerate things differently, and is that a hormonal thing, or is that...
for women, it's just what I experienced. I'm speaking for myself. Yeah. It's more sensual. It's more of about like the connection and the vibration a man gives off, not just necessarily about his penis being inside, your vagina.
Right.
But as a male, and with testosterone, as a man, you're definitely more like, my focus is just getting off.
Right. So there's a more directed quality to it when you're not on estrogen.
Right.
And can you describe what it's like on estrogen?
Yeah, it's more sensual, and everything is. It's more about the vibration. It's more about
not as visual.
I'm still a visual person, actually, but I definitely can get like just you touching my body, and like someone touching me and doing little things is more a turn on than, seeing porn or seeing some dude naked.
Let's go back to loving your experience. When was that? When were you not loving it? How did you come to love it?
Well, when you're not accepted by society, through my transition, I was kicked in the corner. I was suicidal. I couldn't get a job for like a year, and I had
How long ago was that? Like 10 years ago?
Yeah. And I couldn't get a job.
Do you think generally things are different now that way? With societal acceptance and all?
Trans people still can't get jobs.
Why?
The unemployment rate for trans people it's 3 times higher than the general population.
Why do you think that is? Do you have trouble getting a job now?
I don't, because I went through all these surgeries so I can be attractive so society will accept me.
Oh, so you think, and you could be
So
right.
if you're visibly trans,
Right.
you're
Okay,
definitely
got it.
not accepted.
Got it.
Like
Got it.
I am right now.
Got it.
And I was.
Do you feel good about that? For you personally? Like a good thing I went through all this? Or
I mean,
are you resentful you had to go through all that?
Well, when things shifted and society accepted me because I was attractive, I was like, I'm the cool kid in town. Like I was loving it, enjoying it. But now I'm grown, and the trans experience is important to me, and also
You're a trans activist now.
Yeah, and the community.
You're right. So you're coming to the defense of your peers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel, I'm obligated to speak up about this because I went through hell when I didn't look attractive and I looked, awkward. Like, is that a boy? Is that a girl? What is that? And, in LA, you have to have a headshot and you have to be gorgeous to be a server. So I couldn't get a job. And
is that what you wanted to do? Well, you've got a, hang on. I didn't promote this. You have a digital show coming up. Morning Vibes with Billie.
Yes. That's
this spring.
Yes. I just want to wake up in the morning and share good vibes with people and so they can start their day.
But it's media more what you wanted to do than serving?
Yeah, I went to school for radio, TV, and film, and my ultimate goal since I was 5 is to have my own talk show. I just want to have a platform where I can share people's story.
Right.
And I love cooking, and I'm vegan, and, the whole lifestyle thing. But, yeah, I do think that when you go through a transition and you're not accepted by society, it was really hard for me, and a lot of us trans people have to prostitute because that's like the only thing that we have and the only way we can make money. And
I've always questioned that. That's always bothered me.
Yeah,
because there's always ways to being. Did you ever have to do that?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, you can't get a job, and then you have, on the other hand, you have all these guys who are like obsessed with the fact that you're trans and you have a penis. And they're willing to give you money, and you can't even feed yourself. You're going to take it. And that's where, as a trans person and with society, that's kind of where we're left at. And I had family and I had friends who helped me through the hard times too. And so I'm grateful for that because, I didn't have to spend a lot of time selling myself.
Do you still have trauma from
that? No, I think I went through a lot of spiritual healing. I am very spiritual. I do yoga and meditation, and I do ceremonies. And I released a lot of that and a lot of shame because, that's what I had to do to be where I am today and get me there. And
a lot of the folks that I talk to that have done that were often doing it to pay for surgeries, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's definitely, people out there, even cis people who have sugar daddies to pay for all their surgeries.
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely seen that. But for me, it was survival mode. It wasn't about surgeries. It was about feeding myself and paying the rent.
How long did you have to do that for?
I mean, just that dark year, my dad helped me. I had some friends that helped me. So I only had to do it a few times. It wasn't really.
So it was just sort of.
I wasn't living on the street.
Right.
But I definitely had to have sex for money when it came down to it. But some of my sisters and the trans community, they do it all the time because they're not supported and they don't have the opportunities that other people do. But, too, it's like for me, is I was very ashamed of the boy who I used to be. And I did a little ceremony where I put a bunch of pictures down and I lit candles and sage and Palo Santo. And I just cried over those pictures, and I just gave so much gratitude for that little boy, for all the bullying and all the stuff that he put up with to get me where I am today.
Were you ashamed of him, or did you have to sort of grieve his loss, or both?
I was just so ashamed. It was like I just kind of took that
were you
part.
Of him?
I think my parents, it led to me not being accepted.
Oh, this was the sissy stuff? Was that kind of thing? So you were shamed by everybody and you internalized that shame.
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
Yes. And, we don't realize how much we hold on to from our childhood. And then when I had these ceremonies, I released so much of that shame, and I filled it with gratitude and love for myself. And, and that's why I share my story, and that's why I'm on TV right now. It's because I want people to be able to see that trans people can come out on top.
Health IQ is an insurance company that helps health-conscious individuals like runners, cyclists, weightlifters like myself, and vegetarians to get lower rates on their life insurance. Go to healthiq.com/Drew. You will get a nice big surprise in your insurance rate, and you'll support the show, and you'll see if you qualify. That's right. On average, 56% of Health IQ customers save between 4 and 33% on their life insurance. So Health IQ can save our customers up to 33% because physically active people have a 56% lower risk of heart disease, 20% lower risk of cancer, and a 58% lower risk of diabetes compared to people who are inactive. It's like saving money on your car insurance for being a good driver. Health IQ saves you money on your life insurance for living a health-conscious lifestyle. You should be rewarded for that. 70% of the clients get exclusive rates at the top rate class. And this is the fastest growing life insurance company with over $5 billion in coverage. So why shouldn't you benefit? I want you to go to healthiq.com/Drew to see if you qualify. And if you do, why not get that savings? Do it now. I'm pleased to welcome Hydrolite back to our program. Hydrolite is not only a product that I can safely recommend, it's something that I use all the time. In fact, I have some sitting in front of me right now. It is the best oral rehydration product I have ever tried. I, in fact, wanted to invent the same thing myself, and they got there first. And I was sick this week, and I'm taking Hydrolite. It keeps me hydrated as well as anything. Better than any way I can possibly get hydrated. This is it. And at this time of year, it's impossible. Everyone's getting sick, right? They knock you down. Staying hydrated is a crucial part of it. So even if you manage to avoid this, obviously if you get it, it's crucial you take Hydrolite. But if your schedule's half as busy as mine, then staying hydrated is also important. Getting those 8 glasses of water in a day is almost impossible. The beauty of Hydrolite is whether you're sick or not, you can benefit from the proper balance of sodium, glucose, and water. And Hydrolite does this better than any sports drink and certainly better than water alone. Comes in great flavors, orange berry lemonade, and is available as a pre-mixed drink, a powder, or my personal preference is the effervescent fizzy tablets. Simply drop in the water. I then dropped it in a bottle of water today, by several of them, in fact, and I've been drinking it all day. Compared to sports drinks, Hydrolite delivers up to 4 times the electrolytes with 75% less sugar. Come on now. Hydrolite solutions are appropriate for all ages, and each bottle or package includes easy-to-follow dosing instructions. You can find Hydrolite at Rite Aid or online at Amazon.com. And for a limited time, my listeners can save 30% on Hydrolite. Get some now. Just click the banner on my website at drdrew.com and use the code DRDREW18, DRDREW18 at checkout. That is drdrew.com. Click on the Hydrolite banner, and then the code is DRDREW18. When you're looking to buy a car, you want to make sure you're getting real pricing on actual inventory. A lot of times that is not the case. People configure cars online only later to find out they are not available. Not with TrueCar. Of course, I'm talking about TrueCar. You get real pricing on actual inventory. This is not pricing offered by TrueCar, but pricing from an actual dealer. And not just any dealer, but a TrueCar certified dealer. This is a carefully curated network of dealers committed to transparency and offering you a competitive market price. Yeah, you know, and we talk about all the time. Using TrueCar, you can easily find the car you want. Next, TrueCar, TrueCar.com or TrueCar app will show you what other people in your area paid for the same car you're looking for. Now you know what a fair price is, so you can feel confident. Over 3 million cars have been sold to TrueCar users by the TrueCar Certified Dealer Network. Over 3,000 TrueCar Certified dealers are available nationwide. You will get to work directly with a TrueCar Certified dealer that you make contact with, and TrueCar users are more likely to enjoy a faster, better buying experience when they contact a TrueCar Certified dealer. And on average, you can expect to save over $3,000 off MSRP. Once you register, you'll see a real price on actual inventory. Hook up with that TrueCar certified dealer. Have a better buying experience. TrueCar, go to the TrueCar.com or TrueCar app. Do what I'm telling you. Take me more through that. You've talked about the dark year, but how did you get to where you were, other than this one piece of it, I guess, of letting go of the childhood stuff, but how did you get to the point where you're feeling good about things?
I have some angels in my life.
Did you have a therapist at all through all this?
No.
Don't they often...
They make you go to see a doctor? Yeah, a couple times I went. And then I had someone from the LGBT community or the LGBT center, and he fell asleep a couple times on me.
That's not good.
I mean, I think he was paid like, probably minimum wage or something. But yeah, this was years ago. So I just didn't work out.
Okay, so getting to the point where you feel good about it.
Well, I had some angels. I have angels in my life, and one of my friends was on a hit TV show, and she was like, you should style me, you should do my hair and makeup. And so I made money that way, and I actually had an opportunity to transition while I was, hanging out with her. And
I'm getting a little confused because you were already transitioning. You mean complete the transition? Like
having surgeries.
Have the final surgery.
Yeah, because it costs a lot to have the surgeries.
Oh, yeah. Did you do them out here or you do them in Denver?
I did them. I had my vagina done in Thailand, and then
Thailand? Why? Because less expensive?
No, actually, it wasn't that. He was the best. Like, I looked at vaginas for like a year, and his was just so pretty.
The pretty part's fine, but looked at vaginas for a year, it sounds like I was studying the model I wanted.
I mean, I had to look and see these doctors and see what their work, like the results. And
I thought Denver was the big center for high quality surgery.
Well, some of them are just inverted, and he was actually he took everything apart and rebuilt the entire thing, and the orgasm is amazing.
Well, tell me about that, because as a male, that every male is like, well, how's that work? How's it go? What part is orgasming? Is it you still have?
Well, my clitoris. I have a clitoris, and and it's literally a fully functioning vagina. I just don't have a uterus.
I had thought, again, I'm total dilettante.
Okay, no worries.
You're going to educate me. that they used part of the penile tissue around the opening of the vagina as sort of arousal tissue too. Is that not the case?
Well,
or they just shaved down the penis to a clitoris?
There's two different techniques. Yeah. One is where you can invert, which I didn't have done.
I see. And that's the one I was talking about, right? Yeah.
And the other one, he literally takes everything apart, and he takes all the nerves, and he puts all the nerves from the penis into the clitoris. And that's why, like, my orgasms are so amazing, because he literally takes all the amazing parts and puts it in my clitoris.
Now, as males, we need direct stimulation. Do you need direct stimulation on that region to be able to orgasm? Or can you do with intercourse? Can you?
No, I definitely like to have intercourse and then also rub my clitoris to have an orgasm.
Right, makes sense. Is it harder than when you had a penis? Difficult?
I wouldn't say it's like difficult. It's definitely takes longer, but
that might be the estrogen too, though, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the orgasm is full body. It's way different than when I was a boy.
What do you think? Is that the estrogen too, or is that?
Yeah, I think it's the estrogen, and just. It's all full. It's all full body. It feels really good.
Because this is a lot of the stuff that men and women wonder about these experiences.
Yeah,
like, whose is better? Whose is different? It's just different.
It's just different. Yeah, and for me, it's more sensual and full body versus just being in the penis.
Right. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So we're still back at had a dark year, and move me through how you got. You said angels and you had operations, but I'm not following how that changed emotionally, though.
Well, when I was still transitioning and I still had all the surgeries.
I already get confused when you say that, because I sort of think you was somebody transitioning from when you start the estrogen. Is that the wrong terminology? Well, you straighten me out.
No, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Okay, so for me, the transition took a really long time, and so when I say I was transitioning, for me, it didn't feel complete until I had my vagina, until I had all my surgeries.
Which was how long?
And that took probably, let's see.
Like 6-7 years?
Yeah, 7 years.
That does not seem that long to me.
Really? I mean, I guess I wanted to...
A lot of people spend time deciding, do I want surgery, do I not want surgery? And then when they do it, it takes time to do the surgeries, right?
Yeah, I mean, 7 years was long for me. I was thinking when I first decided to transition that I would take the summer off and come back as some beautiful woman. And it's like, no, sweetheart, that's not how it's going to work.
What surgeries have you had?
I've had my vagina, obviously, and then I've had a brow lift and a nose job and a lip lift. And my doctor, Dr. Gavami, I freaking love him. He took all the fat, just a little bit of fat from my stomach and put it in my cheeks. He was just very like, I want you to look natural. I went in there and he was like, do you want to look like a trans woman or do you want to look like Billie, like a natural woman? And I was like, oh, okay, do your thing. And he's amazing.
This is somebody out here?
Yeah, he's in Beverly Hills. And he does all my fillers.
Did you do the Adam's apple?
Actually, yeah, I did get that done. Mm-hmm. He didn't do that. I got that done in Thailand.
Was that painful? always thought that'd be a very painful procedure.
Honestly, the most painful thing I think was my nose and my vagina. Like I remember I forgot to take my meds one day and I woke up.
You're not a good patient, right?
No, well, I slept through my meds.
I can tell. Some people, I'm not a good patient, but you're not a good patient either. You know what you're supposed to do.
This is in Thailand, and I woke up and I felt every piece of my penis separated.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! It was horrifying.
Wait! Is that right when you first woke up after surgery?
It wasn't right after I woke up after surgery because you're like completely sedated when you wake up from surgery. It was probably like 5 days, a week after.
Oh my god!
And I was now in like the healing place, like the hotel. And you were setting an alarm to take your meds, and I was on so many meds, and I just slept through the alarm. And what woke me up was the pain. Oh my god, it was awful.
And that was the worst of it. Then it got better after that.
No, I mean actually, my vagina was so deep that it just took a year to heal. The depth was like insane, which is like great, is what they say, but I was suffering like so much pressure in my vagina I couldn't really stand.
How do you deal with urination for all that?
Peeing was fine, yeah.
That wasn't part of the pressure or anything?
No, it was, I mean, I felt like I had to go to the restroom way more because my bladder's like smaller because, they make room.
Do they take your prostate too when they do all this?
No, actually my prostate is now my G-spot. So it's like...
Oh, I see. Because you're going in behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's interesting.
So it feels really good still.
Interesting. So now pull me through emotionally now. You're transitioning, you're having all these surgeries, you're styling a friend.
Yeah.
You weren't so happy, and then you get happy. How come?
Well, I was just miserable. Especially
Why?
Anyone that's like going through a transformation like that and going through physical pain, emotional pain.
What's the emotional pain?
Of just changing who you are and not being accepted. Like I wasn't, it was hard for me. People visibly noticed that I was trans, and they would, they would say stuff, or it was just
like what?
Just like, is that a tranny? Or they would just say,
you would just hear them.
Oh yeah, you would hear, or you would get noticed, or someone would like bump someone and say, "Look at that, look at that." You can, and I'm very sensitive to energy. I can feel when people are talking shit.
Now you don't get that.
No, now I don't get that, and that. But, going through being hormonal, going through all the surgeries, being on medication, I was on meds for a long time because I was healing with my vagina.
You mean pain meds?
Pain meds. And so it was just a really hard time for me. I was very needy because I was very vulnerable and I was in a lot of pain.
So it sounds like it just was a major transition time, not just sort of gender-wise, but just in your life.
Exactly.
And so you're kind of unstable through all that.
And I spent a lot of my life like living in fear. Like I lived in fear as a child.
Of what?
Of being bullied, of being beat up, of, I had some boy on Halloween like get off his bike, push me into a tree, and was like trying to molest me, but at the same time beat me up and I could tell this boy is gay and he is so... He's taking advantage of me, but he's so ashamed of it. He's like beating me up and angry. Yeah. And I just experienced, it was a very small town. And it was, there was, some very scary people that, and people wouldn't even look me in the eye. There was some guys that I was friends with, and as soon as.
But that was just when you were gay, as far as they were concerned.
Exactly.
So that was just ostracism for sexual orientation.
Yeah.
And then you feel like the gender issues made it even worse, even out here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was like coming out again in a way because I was experiencing kind of like the same thing over and over. But I realized even with my childhood, with my family and how they lived in fear and they were always arguing and yelling, I just lived in fear and I was projecting that, and I was so focused on the outside of fitting in and going through that transformation and looking beautiful, and I was like, what about the inside? Like, I want to love people, and I was just so distanced from everyone. I remember not even looking people in their eyes because I was used to that as a child, so I just wouldn't connect with people. And so I went through a spiritual journey about loving myself, loving my trans experience.
And now now you're in your 20s.
This is like in my early 30s.
So
like this is
so significantly later.
Yeah, this is like
because your surgeries were
20s.
In your mid 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're going through all that. You're not good. And then what? What motivates you to sort of break through?
I read a book.
Yeah.
A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, and It was true. I was living my life in fear, and I was attracting it. And I just needed to change my perception from fear to love and really love my experience and love myself. And then that got me on a whole path of reading other spiritual books, and Untethered Soul by Michael A. Williamson. Like, he is amazing. And
is that a transgender type book or just a general
just a spiritual book
book
about, sitting in the seat of your soul and not necessarily being in the ego and living in fear. And then I, went on retreats and started doing yoga every day and meditating, and I did some yoga workshops, and then I did ceremonies, ayahuasca.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, that was life-changing for me because I...
Do you go to Mexico or
No, I did a ceremony here with a shaman in Los Angeles, or maybe it was like an hour away, but he's a doctor and a shaman. And I've done it 3 times so far. And every time I go in with an intention, and it's mind-blowing. You come out feeling like you've had years of therapy.
It can be changing. The problem with I'm fascinated by all that stuff. And what's we did a podcast with just not that long ago. We did a whole thing on hallucinogens with, I'm forgetting the guy's name. Oh well, give me
a moment.
Yeah, check back. Gary will get you the right number. It was a couple months ago. Thank goodness you're having good experiences. You may want to be careful because you might want to, you've had 3 great ones. Good. Maybe stop there because sometimes people have bad ones or they have bland ones. And we just don't know. We don't know how to control this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my experience has sort of been, or at least as I've seen other people experience it, like 30% of the time they have a terrible experience, 30% they have a nothing experience, and 30% they have a life-changing good experience.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take that away from anybody.
Yeah.
But we don't know the bad experiences. They're having long-term effects from that, or we don't know if the long-term effects from having good experiences. We just don't know.
Yeah. So. I saw Chelsea Handler doing it on her show.
Yes.
And
you notice one of them was miserable.
Yeah.
Remember, he said it was the worst experience he ever had. The Chelsea seemed kind of and the other girl had a great experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And my experience, I purged so much, but I realized how much I was holding on to as a child that no longer served me. So it was really...
Well, that's interesting to me that you've had that's had a significant positive effect on your growth and development. That is fascinating. Because I do believe we will reach a day that we will be using hallucinogens in a therapeutic way. We just don't know enough about them.
Exactly. Yeah,
it scares me now. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it to you, and it scares me. Do you have any more?
It scares me, and I've done it.
It worked for you, so there you go.
Yeah, it's something I don't want to do often or anything, but definitely I needed to go through that experience, and I'm so grateful for it because it really did help me fall in love with myself, and that was my intention.
What made you go back for the second and third time?
I feel like I had some things. I needed to work on that I was still a little ashamed of, and that was like things about my vagina and things about my trans experience that I just felt, I just felt not good about, and I wanted to clear that out, and I wanted to go within, and but now my experiences are pretty good. I mean, I have a lot of gratitude, so I'm not throwing up everywhere like I was before.
And during the ayahuasca experience, or did you have an eating disorder?
No, I was throwing up during the ayahuasca.
Right, okay.
Purging.
Make sure I'm not missing anything.
No.
And now what's going on with relationships? Because you said we're going to kind of see some stuff, and that's sort of we started this conversation.
Yeah, I've been
asking you, how's it going? Is it going good, bad?
Yeah, I mean, I'm dating, and I'm really into someone that works at SIR, and
anybody we know, like previous cast.
He's related to someone, but yeah, you'll see. But yeah, he's really cool, and I love the fact that he's open-minded, and he just sees me for me,
Same age as you, or older, younger?
He's a little younger, yeah, for sure.
For sure younger.
I feel like I've always dated younger guys for some reason. I don't know why. But, I mean, it's fun,
Well, you strike me as younger than your age. And I'm wondering if that's because you sort of came into yourself later, in your 20s kind of thing.
Yeah, and I've had some work done.
No, I don't mean like...
I'm just kidding.
Come on now. Okay, I'll give you that, but it's more that I suspect it's something to do with your overall developmental experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that a lot, actually. You're right. Yeah.
And are you happy with your career? Happy with what's going on? Are you still have mood stuff, or you're pretty much all good now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good about what's happening with things, and I feel good that I'm working at SIR and I get to pay my bills. And
Do you keep working there even when we're not filming and
yeah,
stuff?
I pick up shifts. Sometimes I get busy. Like, my goal is to speak. I love speaking in front of people and just telling my story and telling my truth.
So you're at the front of the restaurant?
Yes.
Hosting? You
Yes.
said host and not hostess.
Yeah, so I'm hosting. Yeah, a hostess.
Same.
Yeah.
Just randomly selected.
I'm holding menus and bringing you to your table.
We'll come by and visit you someday. Because I know Lisa very well. And
I love her.
Yeah, she's great. And,
She's
and Todd's
amazing.
great. And their dogs are great.
Yeah. I always tell everyone she's like my fairy godmother because literally was just so sweet to me and like made everything happen.
It's a very nice woman. And what they've done with those restaurants are unbelievable.
She's so talented.
Yeah, they're very, very skilled. And I think Todd's husband, right? Yeah, Todd. He told me they've had many restaurants over the years in different countries and things. Mm-hmm. So they really know what they're doing. All right. So what's the future look like for you? Other than the digital show, Morning Vibes with Billie, Do you have a start date for that?
We don't, but we have like 4 episodes already done. So we're,
And that's on YouTube or Facebook or
it's going to be on YouTube. Yeah. I'm going to start a whole YouTube channel and get with that. I just want to put out good vibes, and I also eventually want to have a platform where I can share people's story.
Well, you said you're a trans activist now, right?
Yes.
What's on your plate in terms of helping?
Well, I'm with this this organization called Flux, and I do some stuff for them, and we have a thing coming up in March. It's like a whole retreat, and a bunch of us trans people are getting together just to meet and discuss what we can do with our platforms to help educate people on trans issues. And also, there's a big gap with the LGBT community with gay men and trans women. There's a gap, and we're trying to fill that.
What's the gap?
Well, I just think that it's I don't know. There's a gap there. Like a lot of gay men offend trans women and also don't understand it, and they don't
offend trans women.
Yeah, you would be surprised, but it's
In
definitely
what way?
just kind of seeing them as an object too, almost like they would call a drag queen like oh, I love her, she's so great, but then you meet a trans woman and they're like, oh, they just. I feel like as allies, they're not as educated on the trans issues. And I love that Flux is kind of having these events and bringing the community together.
It seems like a perfect area to focus some energy would be to help trans folk through these down periods where they feel the need to prostitute and stuff. Like if there's some way to help them, fund them, support them through these times. Because I hear that very, very commonly, and it always feels like, they didn't need to really do that.
Well, we have a lot of powerful, amazing people in the gay community, and I think it's good that we have organizations like Flux who are bringing the trans community and the gay community together, because hopefully we can use their power.
It also seems like you could be very powerful in terms of helping other trans women when they're struggling. Just sort of share and support. Do you get to do that? No,
I get to do that, and I have girls that message me all the time, and I get to hang out with a lot of my trans girls when we go to different events and stuff, and for me it's so important to be in community, and you don't really have that in a lot of places. And LA, thank God, we do have amazing women who all of us, we get together and we have dinners, and it's nice to have someone who has things in common with you.
And then you're going to write that book about male and female biology. What the experience
I'm going to write it, and I'm going to speak about it all over.
Or just do it like a position paper, so we can just refer to it.
Yeah.
And what do you want people to know now? What have we not covered? What do you think people need to understand that we've not talked about today? I mean, any messages, people, or any?
Well, my big thing is, if you know someone or if you have some power to hire people, hire someone trans. Give us an opportunity. No matter what job it is, we, are just like everyone else, and we can show up and we can work and we can bring good vibes to your place. And I just encourage people to hire trans people, and also just, love and respect and not treat them like they're an object. And if you're interested in something, you can always Google or reach out to me on my website or my Instagram. It's me, Billie Lee. And I think I recently did a BuzzFeed video on Google questions, and that's out there right now.
Oh, interesting. Do you have any regrets?
No. I mean, I regret being a bitch sometimes back in the day because I was crazy and hormonal, but no, I'm good.
All right, listen, I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate the book you're about to write. and good on you for stepping up and being willing to share, because I think it really helps when people are very clear about this, because a lot of what you experience, sort of novelty and objectification, is behind a sort of a lack of understanding and a sort of the fact that it is novel and people don't understand. They want to know, and they see it as sort of something they don't understand necessarily. So the more you're out there normalizing it and making just another thing another human experience,
exactly,
so much better.
Yes.
All right. Anything before we wrap it up?
No, I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much, Billie. You follow her at It's Me Billie Lee, BILLIELEE, and the website, as we said, is It's Me Billie Lee. And I will see you next time.
For calling times and topics, follow the show on Twitter at Dr. Drew Podcast. That's DRDREW Podcast. The music from today's episode can be found on the Swingin' Sounds of the Dr. Drew Podcast, now available on iTunes. And while you're there, don't forget to rate the show. The Dr. Drew Podcast is a Corolla Digital production and is produced by Chris Loxamana and Gary Smith. For more information, go to drdrew.com. All conversation and information exchanged during the participation in the Dr. Drew Podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not confuse this with treatment or medical advice or direction. Nothing on these podcasts supplement or supersede the relationship and direction of your medical caretakers. Although Dr. Drew is a licensed physician with specialty board certifications by the American Board of Internal Medicine and the American Board of Addiction Medicine, he is not functioning as a physician in this environment. The same applies to any professionals who may appear on the podcast or drdrew.com.
If you have an appetite for fun, then the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival is the place to be. March 2nd through April 12th, only at the Disneyland Resort. Enjoy deliciously fresh food, California wines, craft beers, specialty cocktails, live music, and more. All served up with a dash of Disney magic. Get more details at disneyland.com/foodandwine.
Trump and memo, White House resignation. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. President Trump won't declassify a memo of the Russia investigation written by Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee because it contains especially sensitive classified material. White House counsel Don McGahn, in a letter to the committee, advised the Democrats to revise the memo with the help of the Justice Department. A second White House staffer has resigned. David Sorensen, one of the administration's speechwriters, has been accused by his ex-wife of violent and emotional abuse during their short-lived marriage. Sorensen says she was the abusive one. Earlier this week, Staff Secretary Rob Porter resigned after publications of allegations that he abused his two ex-wives. He, too, denies the allegations. A friend of Associate Attorney General Rachel Brand tells the Associated Press that Brand, the third-ranking person in the Justice Department, is stepping down for a private sector job. An official announcement expected next week. I'm Tim McGuire.